Tonight on News 22, the new Doña Ana County Sheriff is breaking barriers in more ways than one.
The trial for drug kingpin Joaquin El Chapo Guzman is underway in New York.
And Amanda Adame takes an inside look at NMSU's Crimson Concierge.
All that and more on News 22 Tuesday.
Serving southern New Mexico, this is the award-winning KRWG-TV News 22, where news matters.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Melissa Tejas.
And I'm Mike Vigil.
We're looking at another cold night in New Mexico, but not as cold as last night.
And we've already seen our first flurries of snow. This is what it looked like yesterday afternoon. It wasn't enough to stick on the ground or enough to make snowballs, but before it was all gone, we were able to capture some video right outside our News 22 newsroom. Along with the snow, we got some cold, really cold weather. Some people recorded temperatures as low as 19 early this morning. It'll be cold again tonight, so make sure to bring pets inside. And to help keep people warm during this cold front, the city is opening up 6 warming stations. These are 6 facilities that will be open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. until further notice. These are temporary shelters and won't be open for overnight stays. These facilities include City Hall, the Mearshide Rec Center, and the Munson Center on Mesquite Street. And with these cold temperatures, we're not going to waste any time today, going straight to weather.
Danielle is next with our first look at current conditions.
This is Danielle Gutierrez with your current conditions. As Mike and Alyssa were saying earlier, we are definitely starting to experience those cold and crisp fall-like temperatures. Right now, skies are clear with temperatures at 40 degrees, winds coming out of the east at about 6 miles per hour. We have humidity at 33%, a dew point at 10 degrees, and a barometer reading at 30.54 inches. Taking a look at our weather for today, we hit a high of 47 degrees, which is actually 20 degrees lower than our average for the year at 67 degrees. And we woke up to a chilly overnight low of 24 degrees. Throwing it back to the year 1973, we hit a record high temperature of 81 degrees, and in the year 1975, a record low temperature at 22 degrees. We had no rain today, leaving our yearly rainfall at 7.22 inches. Those are all the current conditions I have for you right now, but make sure to stay tuned for your national forecast. For now, back to the desk.
After multiple arrests, escapes from jail, and years on the run, Joaquin El Chapo Guzman will face justice.
Camila Berna brings us the first day in court for the once most powerful drug trafficker.
By air and on land, a security detail brings Joaquin El Chapo Guzman to a federal courthouse. His attorney says it's almost a treat to be out of his cell.
Anytime he goes to court, it's one of the first things he says is like, wow, I can breathe.
But for the government, a chance to present its evidence.
The allegations in the indictment make clear that over the course of decades, Guzman's destructive and murderous rise as an international narcotics trafficker is akin to that of a small cancerous tumor.
The defense painting a very different picture.
He's a strong person, he's an intelligent person.
Prosecutors say he's the kingpin of a massive drug trafficking network between the U.S. and Mexico and laundered more than $14 billion from drug sales.
They have to show not only that they engaged in trafficking, but that they knew the trafficking of these drugs were headed to the United States.
And to prove that, more than a dozen cooperating witnesses are expected to take the stand.
These people that they're going to put up there, as I said, are not angels.
But it will be up to a jury of 5 men and 7 women to decide who they believe. In Brooklyn, New York, I'm Camila Bernal reporting.
3 victims are recovering in the hospital after a shooting in Albuquerque. The shooting happened at B&E Keith, a food distribution in southeast Albuquerque. Police say 30-year-old Wade Anthony Melton was the shooter. He was found dead half an hour away on Highway 25 Frontage Road. One of the victims has been upgraded to stable conditions. 2 others remain in critical condition. The shooting is still under investigation. Doña Ana County has elected a new sheriff. She beat 2 other sheriffs to get there. She beat current Sheriff Kiki Vigil in the Democratic primary and former Sheriff Todd Garrison in the general election.
And as News 22's Andrea Vasquez tells us, she's the first in more ways than one.
First of all, Kim Stewart is from California. She retired to New Mexico in 2007 after 18 years in law enforcement. She'll be the first openly gay sheriff in all of New Mexico. She and her wife, Catherine, have been together for 31 years and got married in 2015.
There's nothing to hide.
Here's the thing. When we're doing the interview,
They already know we're gay.
We don't know.
During the campaign, the issue never even came up.
I was pleasantly surprised that it really never was brought up by any of my opponents, and I respect them for that. So we've made some good headway, I think, in terms of people realizing that at the end of the day, we're pretty much just like everybody else.
Tell you who they are.
And the other first, she's the first woman sheriff since Doña Ana County was formed in 1852.
I didn't even realize that until well into our campaign that maybe I would be the first of anything. I was just committed to being a good sheriff and not the gay sheriff, not the woman sheriff. And I think when you tackle it in that fashion, then other people don't notice either.
You know, she is really going to work her heart out for the people of Doña Ana County. And that is one thing I love about the true community policing. Is like she has said so many times, instead of the usual pyramid with the sheriff at the top, you flip it over. The sheriff is at the bottom. The administration exists to support the people who do the service.
She expects the harder part of the job is getting the community unified. And to do that, she wants to organize community events to show that the police serve in a variety of ways and not just responding to crime. And the man she wants as her undersheriff believes her approach will be the best for the county.
I know I wouldn't feel comfortable in this position as her undersheriff with anyone else. She's very, like I said, she's very strong-willed. She's a very strong thinker. She thinks things out, and as her wife was saying, she does things for the people, for the right reasons.
Stewart became a police officer to serve the public, and she wants to continue to do that service in Doña Ana County. I'm Andrea Vasquez with News 22.
I'll be right back.
The downtown event now has some hardware to go with its name. The event Monuments to Main Street was awarded the 2018 Top Hat Award for an outstanding attraction. Visit Las Cruces received the award last week from the New Mexico Hospitality Association. And a mother in Albuquerque is trying to change state law that would allow her daughter to be treated with cannabis at school.
However, some city lawmakers are against the proposal. Jeannie Nguyen of KRQE reports.
The answer I got over and over from APS was if I wanted her to go to school with her medicine, then I needed to change the law.
Last month, Lindsay Sledge went to the Roundhouse in Santa Fe advocating to change the state law. Her 5-year-old daughter, Paloma, is prone to seizures, but Sledge says Albuquerque Public Schools refuses to administer the only medicine that helps her.
She qualifies for use of medical cannabis under state law to control and decrease her seizures.
Gail Stewart, Sledge's attorney, says the 5-year-old was supposed to start kindergarten this year at Petroglyph Elementary, but APS wouldn't allow the medical marijuana on campus. So Sledge asked APS for another option.
She asked for homebound services so that her daughter could receive education at home with APS staff coming in. APS denied that.
The only solution, she says, was for Sledge to be at school with Paloma at all times, to give her the cannabis oil in case of an emergency. But it's been a huge burden for the family.
The family was complaining it was a violation of federal law for APS to be relying on the parent.
We've learned that back in August, APS, the PED, and Sledge went before a special education hearing officer. The officer decided that APS must provide homebound services for the family. But APS has now filed a response in federal court to the hearing officer's decision, saying it is not the district's responsibility to administer a drug that is still illegal in the eyes of the feds, or to advocate for changing the law. Stewart disagrees.
It is their responsibility under federal law to ensure that she could be receiving education with her friends at school, and they've taken no steps to figure that out.
Stay tuned. Danielle is next with your national forecast.
But first, no time to do laundry? There may be a program that can help you out. More on that when News 22 continues.
I want young adults to know that the world is a much bigger place than just the spot that they are occupying at this time. And PBS presents that in a very positive manner. I have left my PBS station a gift in my will. I I want to be certain the programs presented by PBS are carried forward to future generations.
This month in Passport, your on-demand library of the best of PBS.
How can this house of secrets ever be called a home?
You would be signing his death warrant. Is that what you want?
I'm going to be exploring using laser technology to reveal secrets of the ancient world in a whole new way.
He said, "Welcome home." It was just a powerful moment.
These and other shows are available with Passport. Become a member of this PBS station, sign in, and start streaming today.
And welcome back. You're watching News 22 Tuesday,
where news matters.
Students have so many things to worry about when the next test is, or turning in homework on time. Many don't have time to buy a gift for a loved one or book a ticket back home for the holidays.
But did you know there's a program on campus that can help you do all of that? News 22 Amanda Adame has the story.
It's called the Crimson Concierge, a new program that helps students with a little bit of everything. Steve Bettner, the NMSU Auxiliary's vice president, created the program to make students' lives a little bit easier.
So it really originated out of a culture of service and being in the hospitality industry. Again, most major hotels have a similar concierge type service where you go to ask any questions for anything you need, not just academically related.
Bettner conducted a survey to ask why NMSU students leave after a year. Many said they don't feel at home. He hopes his program will keep students here.
The level of service that their students were going to be provided when being away from home. And one of our concierge attendants actually calls herself their mother away from home.
So what does the Crimson Concierge do for you? It can get you a list of the best Valentine's Day or Christmas gifts, tell you the best taco place in town, and those simple things are free. But if you pay, they can even do your laundry for just $300 per semester.
I think it's too expensive. I prefer just doing my laundry by myself.
I would pay just because it takes so long to actually clean the clothes, and I mean, you get clean clothes, why not?
Some say it's not worth it, and the free stuff, they say they can just Google it and get the same information.
I venture out a lot myself, and I don't really need that advice because I get that advice from my trusted friends.
NMSU is one of 3 schools in the nation to have this program. Most are private schools, and many are questioning why NMSU is spending money on this. But despite what many believe, this isn't adding any other fees for students or taking money from the university. Amanda Adame, News 22.
Las Cruces is going through a process application to become the largest serving nachos of the world. This past Saturday was Noche de Noche Nachos at Plaza de las Cruces, where the record-setting attempt to get the Guinness World Record took place. The nachos weighed about 5,000 pounds and was 110 feet long. Many came to witness and eat the largest nachos in the world, while also enjoying performances of mariachi bands.
It's a really nice event to have also Mexican culture with all the mariachis that are singing right now, and then just get together and eat some nachos.
At the end of the evening, a large portion of nachos were donated to the Gospel Rescue Mission. Crews are working around the clock to try to contain a catastrophic wildfire burning across California. It's already the deadliest in state history, and officials say the numbers will likely rise.
And while firefighters are beginning to make progress, strong winds in the south could make for a treacherous uphill battle. Paul Verkerman is in Malibu with the latest.
Firefighters in California facing treacherous conditions and tragedy as they work to contain multiple wildfires.
We are not out of the woods yet. We still have some incredibly tough conditions ahead of us.
Strong gusts are fueling the deadly Woolsey fire in Southern California, and there's little chance of rain.
As Santa Ana winds continue and when the new fires begin, we ask the public to remain vigilant and listen to our law enforcement counterparts on evacuations.
Farther north in Butte County, the Camp Fire, the state's deadliest blaze on record, has claimed dozens of lives. That number expected to increase.
Heavenly Father, please help us. Please help us to be safe.
Bryn Parrott Chatfield was among the fortunate ones who got out in time. She lost her home and business, but her family is safe.
Thousands of people made a similar drive like that.
Thousands of people experienced that exact same thing or even worse.
Others, however, were not as fortunate. More search and recovery crews are heading to Paradise today, a community now in ashes. Officials are now asking loved ones to provide DNA samples as they work to identify victims. In Malibu, California, I'm Paul Verkamen.
While we're experiencing some freezing temperatures, I hear that cities around the country are also feeling the cold.
Yeah, and Danielle's next with the weather.gov national forecast.
Now let's go ahead and take a glance at our national forecast. Another storm system will be impacting the south, the Midwest, and the northeastern parts of the United States. As you can see here, there's a low pressure system and a jet stream that will be bringing some rain, some snow, and some sleet in these areas, which could be dangerous for commuters and cause possible flight delays on Thursday and Friday. On my next map, we'll be taking a closer look at this jet stream and the path that it's going to be taking. As we can see, it does take a southward dip and moves towards the eastern part of the United States. What that means for us here at home is that we won't be experiencing too much of a temperature change, but for the people living on the East Coast, make sure to stay safe and make sure to stay warm. On my next map, we're going to be looking at the rain and the snow forecast on the eastern part of the United States. We can see here places like Florida are at 1 inch of rain. The Carolinas are at 1 to 2 inches of rain. We have Georgia at 2 to 3 inches of rain. And moving up this way, these areas here are experiencing some snow. Illinois and Pennsylvania are experiencing up to 5 to 8 inches of snow. That's all the national weather I have for you right now, but make sure to stay tuned for your 5-day forecast. For now, back to the desk.
Fresh Air with Terry Gross, weekday mornings at 11 on 90.7 FM and streaming live on KRWG.org.
London has been plagued by flooding for centuries.
London is particularly under threat through climate change.
Now a city that thought it was safe is facing a new reality.
We need to build cities that can cope with sea levels and make that part of the future design.
Wednesday at 9 p.m. on KRWG-Public Media.
On Masterpiece.
No wonder you stay so long in London. Life's all pleasure.
So you find me ferocious. Within a week, she will not be a virtuous woman.
Dr. Behenna has arranged for you to go to an asylum.
Rowena! Forgive me.
I shall wait upon you. When will your husband be out?
Why did I come? Ross and I were happy.
The man's a renowned duelist. He's killed 5 men.
Poldark. On Masterpiece.
Thursday at 8 p.m. on KRWG Public Media.
Let's go ahead and take a look at New Mexico right now. We are experiencing some chilly temperatures. We have Farmington at 33 degrees, Santa Fe at 26, Clovis at 33, Socorro at 36, Ruidoso at 27, Roswell at 38, Deming at 38. Taking a look at New Mexico tomorrow, we can see the temperatures warm up a little bit. Clovis at 55, Roswell at 50, Ruidoso at 50 as well, Socorro at 52, Farmington at 48, Las Cruces here at 55, and Deming at 54. Taking a look at our neighboring cities, we have Alamogordo tonight, clear skies 22 degrees and partly cloudy tomorrow at 52 degrees. Truth or Consequences tonight, 28 degrees, and tomorrow sunny skies at 55 degrees. We have Silver City tonight at 21 degrees, tomorrow with partly sunny skies at 51 degrees. And here in the city of the Cruces, we have clear skies tonight at 24 degrees with partly cloudy skies tomorrow at 55 degrees. That's all the local temperatures I have for you right now. Make sure to stay tuned for your 5-day forecast later on in the show. For now, back to the desk.
The world of comic books is in mourning after a legendary writer and creator passed away yesterday.
CNN's Jeannie Moose remembers Stan Lee.
In the world of comic superheroes,
you are a god.
Stan Lee!
How are you?
Other people drew the characters. He invented their stories.
You're responsible for the greats. Let's do the list. Spider-Man. Guilty. I can't stand it! The greats are gone! The Incredible Hulk. Afraid so.
There was a collective cry of grief from cartoonists. Stan Lee's face projected as a web in the sky. How'd he come up with Spider-Man anyway?
I saw a fly crawling on the wall, and I said, wow, suppose a person had the power to stick to a wall like an insect.
Jimmy Kimmel posted what he called a weird portrait of Stan that Jimmy drew when he was 7. 3 decades later, he got to give it to the great one in person. The Marvel of Marvel Comics explained his objective this way.
We want to be a little cinder in the eye of the establishment. I just thought of that. I think it's great.
He was modest when he got a star on Hollywood's Walk of Fame.
In a million years, I never thought, that I'd get something like this.
He and his wife, Joan, were married for 69 years until her death. He appeared in movie cameo.
That is hilarious.
After movie cameo.
Nice suit. Zip it, Stanley!
At the age of 77, he told Larry King,
life is so exciting. I'd love to have another 100 years.
He had to settle for a mere 95 years total, creating superheroes with human hang-ups, and he never hung up his signature line.
Excelsior. Excelsior.
Jeannie Mo, CNN.
Excelsior.
Oh, New York.
Now, I've got to say I'm excited. My favorite time of the year is back. Aggie Hoops is back in full swing.
I'm excited to see what it's in store for the next season. Michaela's next with sports.
Thanks, Alyssa and Mike. Coming up in sports, the men's and women's basketball teams are fired up and ready for the season. We'll be right back with News 22 Sports.
Great Performances takes us inside the Tony-winning smash In the Heights. With its bright new cast of Broadway dreamers.
We're going to change the world.
Hamilton creator Lin-Manuel Miranda stars in his first triumph.
What do you do when your dreams come true?
On stage and off.
I'm home.
See how they hit the heights. With In the Heights on Great Performances.
Friday at 9 p.m. on KRWG-Public Media.
One of Broadway's best special Tony Award winners, John Leguizamo, lets us in on the making of his recent hit.
Latin History for Morons.
And why he created it.
My son is going through the same racial rite of passage as I did.
And how he kept shaping it till it was ready.
It's been years.
Join John Leguizamo on the road to Broadway.
Tonight's lesson is Latin History for Morons. And that's you.
In a Great Performances Voces special.
Friday at 8 p.m. on KRWG-Public Media.
This is KRWG-TV News 22 Sports.
Welcome back. I'm Michaela Romero, and let's talk sports. The men's basketball team is off to a great start. The Aggies are now 2-0 on the season. This Friday, they kept their streak alive as they defeated I-10 rival UTEP for the 8th year in a row. The Aggies have been undefeated against the Miners since 2010. NMSU played a solid team-oriented game as they had 5 players with 10-plus points on the night. Similar to the first game, the Aggies were led in scoring by a newcomer as Clayton Henry finished with 14 points. The Aggies will take on St. Mary's tomorrow night at 7 p.m. inside the Pan Am Center for their next game. And not only are the men starting off their season well, so is the women's basketball team. The Aggies have started off their season strong with a 2-game winning streak. NMSU dominated Western Michigan on Sunday with a score of 66-54. The Aggies are preparing to head out to El Paso to compete in the Battle of I-10 this Saturday against the Miners. The game will be at 1 p.m. at the Don Haskins Center. The women's volleyball team is still grinding. They have only 2 more matches until the WAC tournament. The Aggies have an overall record of 20-7. This Thursday, they will be playing the UMKC Kangaroos. The Kangaroos have an overall record of 20-8. It should be a good match. They will play at 6 p.m. at the Pan Am, and on Saturday, they will have another home game against Chicago State. And the women's cross-country team is back from a tough competition this weekend at the NCAA Mountain Regionals. The team finished strong and took 16th place. The women have been working hard and it paid off with multiple getting personal bests. Now the team will have a 2-week break until they start preparing for their indoor season that starts in January. And that's all for sports tonight. Join us for more sports action tomorrow. Still ahead on News 22, Danielle will be back to take a look at your 5-day forecast. But first, she wasn't only a hero in The Blind Side, she's a real-life hero as well. More on that when News 22 returns.
Coming up on Austin City Limits.
Saturday at 9 p.m. on KRWG Public Media.
On The Woman in White.
We need a doctor.
Bring a doctor here could lead the Count and glide straight to us.
Be done with it.
I will not be done with it!
Sir Percival has a secret he is desperate to hide. I have nothing to offer you but my heart and my hand.
I'll never bargain with you.
Sunday at 9 p.m. on KRWG Public Media.
I felt it coming on, and I know I turned beet red.
About 80% of women will experience hot flashes to different degrees.
I tried a number of things, and frankly, none of them worked. Hence the decision to proceed to the standard treatment.
It becomes very, very disruptive.
I'm Dr. Peter Salgo. Join us this week for Second Opinion.
Sunday at 1:30 p.m. on KRWG Public Media.
And welcome back. Let's take a look at our top stories. Cold temperatures have hit the city of Las Cruces. Snow fell yesterday, and although it didn't stick, the cold temperatures will. The trial for drug leader Joaquin El Chapo Guzman was scheduled to start today. Opening arguments were postponed because of a juror was excused. And an Albuquerque man is dead after a shooting that injured 3 people. A search began after reports of an active shooter. The suspect, Wade Anthony Melton, was found dead shortly after.
Sandra Bullock shows support during the Woolsey and Hill fires. Actress Bullock donated $100,000 to help rescue and evacuate animals from the wildfires, according to the Humane Society of Ventura County. The nonprofit group said the money will help provide care for the animals, from horses and bulls to donkeys and ducks, that were evacuated from fires. The group says it pledges to care for the animals for as long as it's needed.
No, that's interesting. You don't always think about the animals in that situation, but
yeah, it's really sad what they're going through.
So what are the next 5 days?
All right, let's take a look at our 5-day forecast. As we can see, the temperatures do start to warm up a little bit this week, still staying chilly in the mid to upper 60s, and our lows ranging in the 30s. So we're still feeling those fall temperatures, but they're going to be a lot warmer than what we were feeling these past couple days.
Cool, thank you. And don't forget, you can catch all of today's aired stories and past newscasts on our YouTube page at youtube.com/KRWG News 22.
And follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat for show updates and what the latest on News 22 is up to.
That's all for tonight.
And that's all for News 22 Tuesday. Thank you everyone for joining us tonight.
Good night.
This news brief in Español is brought to you by Noticias 22, Spanish language news for Southern New Mexico and West Texas. Noticias 22.
¿Qué tal? Los saluda Denise Nájera en este breve informativo de Noticias 22. Un empleado de una bodega de distribución de alimentos en Albuquerque disparó hiriendo a 3 personas. El hombre de 30 años, Wade Anthony Melton, se quitó la vida después de abrir fuego dentro de la bodega ubicada en la avenida Broadway en el suroeste de Albuquerque después de las 6 de la tarde el lunes. La policía dice que había 20 personas dentro del almacén cuando comenzaron los disparos. Las 3 víctimas están en condiciones críticas. Melton después se mató cerca del área de Placitas. En otras noticias, es tiempo de sacar su ropa de invierno en Santa Fe, Nuevo México. Los residentes tuvieron su primer nevada de la temporada este domingo pasado. Las escuelas públicas de Santa Fe cancelaron las clases en 30 de sus escuelas el lunes, debido a las condiciones del camino. En la Ciudad de México, el domingo pasado se llevó a cabo la protesta en las principales avenidas de la capital mexicana. Los manifestantes exigían que no se cancele el proyecto del nuevo aeropuerto internacional en Texcoco, como recientemente lo decidió el presidente electo de México, Andrés Manuel López Obrador. La marcha fue del Monumento al Ángel de la Independencia a Zócalo capitalino. Algunos de los manifestantes dicen que el aeropuerto ya está 30% terminado y costaría más desconstruirlo que terminarlo. Para Noticias 22, Denise Nájera.